Imagine asking with all your heart for the life you desire, only to end up thinking about it every 5 minutes. She believed that the more she visualized, the more affirmations she repeated, and the more signs she looked for, the faster her desire would arrive. But she was about to discover something that would completely change the way she manifested. This is the story of a woman who knew exactly what she wanted. She wanted to improve her financial situation. She wanted to find a loving relationship that was genuinely good for her. And above all, she wanted to feel something she hadn't felt in a very long time: peace of mind. She had heard about manifestation and thought that perhaps she had found a way to transform her reality. So she started with enthusiasm. She visualized in the mornings. She wrote affirmations. She expressed gratitude for what she had. She imagined what her new life would be like. And for a while, everything seemed wonderful. Until an apparently innocent question appeared. When is it going to happen? And that question eventually became an obsession. Stay until the end, because the change she needed wasn't about giving up on her desires. It was about learning to desire without desperately living in anticipation of when they would come true. 1. She had a very clear desire. She wasn't lost. In fact, for the first time in a long time, she felt like she knew exactly what she wanted. She had spent years simply reacting to circumstances, paying the bills, working, fulfilling responsibilities, trying to keep everything under control. But deep down she felt like something was missing. One night, she sat alone in her room and took out a sheet of paper. She wrote down 3 things. I want financial stability. I want a healthy relationship. I want to feel at peace with my life. When she finished, she felt something close to relief. Not because she already had those things, but because, for the first time, she had put into words what she truly wanted. And this is important. Having clarity is not the problem. Knowing what you desire is not the problem. Even having a clear vision of the life you want to build can help you tremendously. The problem began afterward, because she didn't just want that life. She began to feel that she needed to know exactly when it was going to appear. And that's where the real story began. 2. She discovered manifestation. A few days later, she discovered the world of manifestation. She found videos. She listened to stories. She learned about visualization. She discovered affirmations. She read about gratitude, energy, intention, and detachment. And something inside her clicked. She thought, maybe I can start creating a different reality. She didn't want to simply sit around and wait. She wanted to actively participate in her life. So she created a routine. Every morning before looking at her phone, she closed her eyes. She imagined having a healthier bank account. She pictured herself living peacefully. She imagined embracing a partner who respected her. She felt the emotion of waking up without fear of the future. Then she wrote affirmations. My life is changing. I am open to receiving. I trust the process. And at first she did it because she enjoyed it. There was no pressure. It was almost like a game. Every visualization gave her energy. Every affirmation reminded her where she wanted to go. She felt hopeful. And that hope was genuine. But slowly, something began to change. 3. At first she was excited. During the first few weeks, she felt incredible. There was a new feeling. As if her future was no longer a closed wall. As if possibilities existed that she hadn't even considered before. She started taking better care of herself. She cleaned and organized her room. She went back to activities she had abandoned. She started going out with friends again. She updated her resume. She began paying attention to job opportunities. And she also allowed herself to meet new people. Without realizing it, some things really were changing. But she began to interpret everything differently. If she saw a repeating number, she thought, it's a sign. If someone mentioned a relationship, she thought, maybe it's getting close. If an unexpected job opportunity appeared, she thought, maybe this is what I was manifesting. First it was fun. Then it became surveillance. Because there's a big difference between enjoying a coincidence and needing every coincidence to confirm that your desire is about to arrive. 4. She started waiting for results. One morning, she opened her eyes and before getting out of bed, thought, "Has it happened yet?" She didn't know exactly what she was expecting to find. A message, a transfer, an opportunity, person. But she was waiting for something. She got up. She checked her phone. Nothing. She checked her messages. Nothing. She checked her email. Nothing. She opened her social media. Nothing related to what she was waiting for. Then she thought, well, maybe today. And she continued with her day. But by midday she asked herself again, could it happen today? That night, why hasn't it happened yet? And the next day again, what am I doing wrong? This is where everything changes. Because she was still doing the same practices. She visualized. She repeated affirmations. She expressed gratitude. But now there was one enormous difference. Before, she did it to connect with the life she wanted. Now, she did it to check whether it was working. And those two things may look the same. But emotionally, they are completely different. When she visualized, she no longer felt excitement. She felt like she was taking a test. When she repeated an affirmation, she no longer felt trust. She felt like she needed to convince herself. And when she expressed gratitude, part of her was thinking, I'm doing all of this, so why hasn't it happened yet? Without realizing it, she had turned her spiritual practice into a system of surveillance. 5. Manifestation became an obsession. She began constantly looking for signs. She would see a certain time on the clock and try to interpret it. She would hear a song and think it had a message for her. She would dream about something and try to decipher it. She would come across a phrase online and think, this definitely has to mean something. And whenever she found a sign that seemed positive, she would get excited. But that excitement didn't last long, because another question would soon appear. But when? That was the real problem. She didn't need another sign. She needed certainty. She wanted to know that her desire was guaranteed. She wanted a date, confirmation, proof. Something that would tell her, relax. It will happen exactly 1 week from now. But life doesn't work that way. And the more she tried to obtain that certainty, the more anxious she became. She even started feeling guilty. She thought, maybe I'm doubting too much. Maybe my energy is blocking everything. Maybe I'm thinking the wrong thoughts. And then she tried to control her thoughts too. If a worry came up, she tried to eliminate it. If she felt afraid, she told herself she shouldn't feel that way. If she had a bad day, she thought she had ruined her manifestation. And here we find one of the most exhausting traps. Turning personal growth into yet another thing you have to do perfectly. 6. The moment she realized. One Saturday something simple happened. She was having a cup of coffee. Nothing extraordinary had happened. She hadn't received any sign. The opportunity she was waiting for hadn't appeared. She hadn't met anyone special. Her financial situation still wasn't where she wanted it to be. And suddenly she realized something. She had spent months waiting to start living. But she was already living. She stared at her coffee cup and thought, at what point did my current life become nothing more than a waiting room? That question hit her hard. Because she had been waiting to feel peaceful when she had more money. Waiting to feel complete when a partner appeared. Waiting to enjoy life more when her situation changed. Waiting to feel secure when she received confirmation. She had placed her well-being in the future. And then she understood something uncomfortable. She wasn't suffering simply because her desires hadn't arrived yet. She was suffering because she had decided she couldn't be okay until they did. That was the real attachment. It wasn't about wanting too much. It was about turning the outcome into a condition for being able to enjoy the present. 7. The real lesson. That day, she didn't decide to give up on manifestation. She didn't decide to pretend she no longer wanted anything. She didn't tell herself, I don't care anymore. 'Cause she did care. And that was okay. Her desire was still valid. What changed was her relationship with it. She told herself, I can want something without needing it immediately. I can have a vision without demanding a deadline from life. I can work towards something without checking every 5 minutes to see if it's working. And above all, I don't need to let go of my desire. I need to let go of the desperation to control when it will arrive. That sentence became her new point of reference. Because trusting didn't mean staying still. It didn't mean abandoning her goals. It didn't mean saying, if it's meant for me, it will appear while I do nothing. She continued taking action. If she wanted to improve financially, she kept learning, working, looking for opportunities, and making decisions. If she wanted a relationship, she continued meeting people and setting boundaries. If she wanted to feel at peace, she continued taking care of her mind, her body, her routines, and her relationships. The difference was that she no longer used every action to demand an immediate result. She focused on her life again. She started doing something that seemed small. She stopped checking. She no longer needed to look at the clock for repeating numbers. She no longer needed to interpret every conversation. She no longer needed to constantly ask herself, could this be the sign? If a coincidence appeared, she could enjoy it. But she didn't need to turn it into a promise. And that gave her something back that she had lost: presence. She started enjoying her mornings again. She cooked while listening to music. She went for walks. She talked with her friends without turning every conversation into a search for answers. She worked on her projects because she wanted to build something, not because she needed to prove to the universe that she was ready. And strangely enough, she began to feel much lighter. Not because all her problems had disappeared, but because she stopped adding a second layer of anxiety to them. She no longer had only the problem. She also had the constant thought, when is this going to be resolved? By letting go of that repetitive question, she got her energy back. 9. What it really means to trust. And perhaps this is the most important part of the entire story. Trusting the process doesn't mean guaranteeing that everything will happen exactly as you imagined. It means letting go of the belief that you need to control every detail in order to move forward. You can have a goal. You can visualize. You can affirm. You can express gratitude. You can work. You can make decisions. But you can also allow for paths that you don't know about yet. Because sometimes we become so focused on achieving one specific version of our lives that we fail to see the possibilities appearing right in front of us. She wanted to control when. But when she let go of that, she began paying more attention to what she could do today. And that question was much more powerful. Not, when will it arrive? How do I want to live while it does? Maybe you're at that point too. Maybe you're doing everything you think you're supposed to do. You visualize. You repeat affirmations. You write. You express gratitude. You work. And yet you look at your reality and think, where is it? If that's you, maybe you don't need to give up on your desire. Maybe you need to stop constantly chasing proof that it's on its way. Your life doesn't begin when you get what you've been waiting for. Your life is already happening. You can keep moving toward what you desire without turning the journey into a source of suffering. So remember this. You don't need to let go of your desire. You need to let go of the desperation to control when it will arrive. If this message reached you at a moment when you needed it, write in the comments, I trust my process. And if you want to keep learning about manifestation, detachment, and personal growth, subscribe. Because maybe the next change you're waiting for won't begin when something external arrives. Maybe it will begin when you stop waiting and start living again.